On a chilly winter's night, in a city filled with a fresh sheet of snow with glimpses of the festivities of Christmas time, Princess Camille is sent to America on tour by her father to prove she is ready for all the pressure and responsibilities of being a princess. Walking and wearing a tiara whilst dressed in pajamas, she shares a banter-filled exchange with Teodora, her dearest friend, who also holds a royal title, Duchess, and is a language professor. The two talk about how there is more than being a leader than just public appearances, and how, even though she feels that she has so much to prove, Camille is as tough as they come. However, they also discuss the cunning Aunt Vinnie, Camille's father's cousin, also a noble, and how she keeps a harsh eye on the princess and doesn't leave her alone. Yet the two brush it off as just her being careful for the young princess. The setting changes to a professor in Pine State University, who is exiting from a late workday and runs into Sarah. They share a conversation about an 18th century discovery, yet it doesn't pique Sarah's interest much, and so the professor sends her on her way, wishing her a good night. Later on that night, Princess Camille receives a video from Lavin, her aunt, and the video catches her by surprise. It's from the charity event she attended earlier, and she is slightly embarrassed at a little stumble. However, she seems a bit more at ease when she sees how she gathered herself and continued to speak about her homeland. She comes from the Principality of Morgana and is patron of Morgana University, which seems to be her passion, yet she is caught off guard by how the losses of Morgana University have been made public. This seems to be the focus of the media, rather than her mentions of equal rights, and how she wishes for a better tomorrow as the university's mission. Later on in his class, the professor, Ben, is talking about international disputes involving beverages, clearing an eager student's queries, as the princess is once again seen conversing with Teodora, who wants to earn her position and not receive it as a handout from the princess. She wants to prove to her doubters that she is worthy of her position whilst also being Camille's support system, and letting her know that a princess is not made by her tiara. The princess and the professor share a romantic moment as she reaches the university, and he helps her jump out of her car over a puddle. Angela, the president of PSU, catches him in the act and tells him off. She welcomes her and introduces the professor of international diplomacy as her brother, Ben Copeland, whereas Camille introduces Teodora as the language professor from Morgana University, who is further impressed by Ben, who can reach Middle French. Angela hands her a schedule she printed for them, providing her ample opportunity to speak with the faculty before leaving on a tour around the campus. Then we move to Teodora, back to work, as Camille is picking an outfit for the event. Her father Lucian, sovereign of Morgana, calls her, and they discuss how she does not have authority to sign deals on behalf of Morgana University. However, she explains how she just needs Pine State on board to gain investment, which makes Lucian very proud, and shows that this is the best way for Camille to prove her worth to be ruler one day. However, the deteriorating financial situation makes it so that the university is now closing within the week, and not the month. Determined to save the university, Camille takes it upon herself to make sure she is successful in her endeavors. Ben and Angela discuss behind the scenes about the princess being astounding, and how Ben didn't get the job he was trying out for in a diplomatic field. He does not like putting on a show for elites when the university is in need of funds, but he gives in to cover his sister Angela's back. They get a call from the King of Morgana, where he asks her to help him keep a keen eye on Camille, and to have someone take care of her from afar. Now changed into her dress, Camille discusses how this is now a necessity to get PSU on board, as they do not have time anymore, and talking about how much of an eye-catcher their century-old transcripts and documents are for any institution. Camille is now in the Mixer alumni party in PSU, and they drink mulled wine and share the space with many people, discussing about their archives to make them more interested in the history of Morgana University, before being pulled aside by Angela. They discuss the situations of both their universities, and how mutually beneficial it could be to take things into account, when Camille then asks to teach a class in diplomacy, as a guest lecturer in Ben's class. Between every few sentences, the photographer snaps a picture. As Camille thanks Ben for the opportunity in his class, she begins her lecture with talking about Morgana, which causes Ben to jump in and cut her off to keep her on course. However, she thinks it's best to teach them about Morgana as well, so she asks for Ben to give her a chance, and he reluctantly agrees. She goes on to brief the class about what goes around in Morgana in the form of diplomacy. Later on, Camille runs into Ben, and he asks her to be her partner in a scavenger hunt, and asks to take her out for coffee. As they share coffee, he lets it slip that her father asked Angela to assign someone to watch Camille. Annoyed, she says she does not need a babysitter, but her attitude changes when she finds out that Ben went to Morgana University. He states her passion is contagious as she pitches her blueprint for the exchange program, named Study Abroad, designed to help Morgana University's financial state. They discuss how they have a generational connection to their own universities when Ben learns of the dire state of Morgana's finances. Together they share Christmas festivities and various activities, as Ben follows Camille around, and they build a snowman together. At the end of the day, Ben is walking Camille home when they share a snowball fight, Ben concedes, and they share a flustered moment as Camille is about to head home, but Ben asks her to stay. They head to a bonfire, and he teaches her how to make s'mores. Camille mentions that Ben has the exact expertise they require to translate the documents in Morgana University's archive, and then she heads home as they call it a night. The following morning, Camille is greeted by Ben, as she hides from Angela and all the photo opportunities she is forcing with the princess. Since it's freezing, they head inside together and talk about how Ben is a great teacher, and discuss about Camille's strategy to teach for that day. Once again, her teaching is disrupted by Ben as they carry on with their back-and-forth style, and Camille pulls out another transcript to support her argument. This conversation engages the entire classroom, and proves to be an efficient teaching method. Afterwards, Angela walks in to check on Ben and how it's going with the princess, which then shifts the conversation onto Ben's career. She feels guilty for being the reason Ben once gave up on his career when she needed his help. But then the conversation takes a lighthearted turn, as she teases Ben about his growing relationship with the princess. Ben and Camille are together again, and take part in the beanbag tossing tournament, which is part of the many Christmas festivities on the Pine State campus. In their competitive nature, they start to knock each other's pouches away, with Camille surprisingly taking the win. They carry on towards other attractions, the next of which awaken feelings of nostalgia within the princess, and she hangs an ornament on the Pine State Memorial Christmas tree. Ben tells Camille about his prior aspirations before coming to help Angela. The two share a deep and insightful one-on-one, with Ben apologizing for being initially dismissive, which productively leads them to discuss the game plan for Camille's exchange program, and how they may convince Angela to get on board. As they move on, the princess teaches some students the traditional dance of Morgana. Ben walks in and they share the dance floor in a waltz, with Christmas chimes dictating the movement of their footsteps as they gaze into each other's eyes. However, afraid of her feelings, the realization that she's falling for him makes Camille back away and go back home, as she remembers she came here on a mission to save the university, not to fall in love. Ben knocks on her door and brings bread pudding to warm Camille's heart, as he offers to help her and Teodora with their pitch. And so, the three work together and talk about how Camille is not only a princess, but also a holder of a PhD in diplomatic studies from Morgana University, which impresses Ben to a large degree. Back in PSU, Ben receives a call from Lucian, who shares his concerns and checks up on his daughter and how she has been doing. He tells him all about her passion, whilst getting carried away due to his emotional involvement in Camille. Surprisingly, he gets offered a diplomatic position by Lucian, but he turns it down, as he does not wish to turn this into a quid pro quo. Lucian also warns Ben, whom he suspects of having emotions for his daughter, that she can only be with a man who can benefit Morgana, and as such, he tries to push Ben away from the thought of being involved with Camille romantically. We shift to the king now, conversing with his cousin, who shows her disapproval of Camille's approach, yet the king still shows faith in his daughter. As they continue translation of the documents, Camille and Ben's hands share a touch as they reach for the same transcript at the same time, and they quickly pull away in shock, pleasantly affected by the touch. Ben takes charge of dinner and goes to fetch something for them to eat, as Teodora arrives in his absence and shares a conversation with Camille about Ben. She notes how any serious relationship must be approved by her father, just as she receives a text from Ben regarding a surprise. Ben, Camille, Teodora and Angela all gather around the Pine State Memorial Christmas tree, learning and performing the Morgana ritual dance to decorate the Christmas tree. Ben saw it at his time in Morgana University, with Ben noting the tree looks beautiful, as he gazes into Camille's eyes at the end. The next and final class in the morning starts with Camille bringing her native treats and sipping chocolate from Morgana, after which they begin the class, discussing language. Camille pulls out a document which Ben has been searching for, which he completely envelops himself in, and so the princess opts to use her power to let him keep it, noting that it is in good hands. They both receive a message at the same time to discover that her father Lucian is to arrive soon. Making final preparations for her presentation with Ben, she greets her father at the campus, and he wishes her luck as Angela arrives. They begin, with Ben, Lucian and Teodora in the audience, all looking upon her with pride and joy. At the end, she is given a round of applause, but unfortunately Angela declines. Camille storms away, broken about the rejection, and she even forgets to cover herself up against the harsh weather as she walks out into the snow, only to be followed by Ben, who is worried for her. As he covers her up with a coat, he asks for more time to convince Angela, as Camille bargains with her father to give them an extension. He reveals something has changed. Ben runs into Angela's office and questions her, and she reveals she received the needed funds from Morgana anonymously to resolve Pine State's issues, on the condition that she is to reject Camille's proposal. Ben runs off to let Camille know. On the other hand, Lucian lets Camille know they were being strung along by her Aunt Finny. The university was never a drain on the economy of Morgana, and it was always just a misleading cover until she got a better offer. If they do not shut the university, she will close half of the resorts in Morgana that she owns, threatening the economy for real. They put the pieces together and learn that it was in fact her aunt that paid Angela to reject Camille's offer. And then Ben and Camille set it upon themselves to translate one more document that can help fix everything once and for all. They set onwards to translate the finances and the land deeds of the university itself. As Ben finishes it and gets Camille to check it, they discover Aunt Vinny doesn't own the land. They come dangerously close to each other's faces, just as Camille has the realization that she finally gets it. Public appearance is not just about being there, it is about showing up and standing up. They go on to get ready for the night's final event. In a suit and a bow tie, freshened up, Angela and Ben share in confidence how Angela thought Ben doubted her when he stayed, leaving his career behind, but in reality it was only to spend more time with their father, who was once dean of Pine State University. As Camille gets ready, she finally puts on the tiara she took off in the beginning of the movie, as she embraces her title and notices it is the perfect final touch for the night. Lucian approaches Ben to thank him for handling the entire situation, and offers him a job there again, as gratitude for his help in the delicate situation. Ben states it's his dream job, almost perfect. He looks behind the king to see Camille walking in, looking astonishing, as Lucian admits he knows that's what he wants, and how his daughter's entrance is one befitting a princess. Camille greets the guests as she sees her Aunt Vinny, and confronts her to warn her that she has one chance to reconcile and drop the scheme to sabotage the university. Vinny does not give in, and as such, Camille goes on to tell Angela that the donation made by Vinny is invalid, that she held the economy hostage, and that she does not own the land to begin with. Vinny's ancestors gave away the land to the crown as they supported the founding of the university, hence Vinny cannot force its closing, and must withdraw her donation. Vinny still refuses to pull the donation back, threatening to shut the resorts, to which Ben reveals that even that land belongs to the crown, thanks to her ancestors. In fact, Teodora is the rightful owner through her ancestry. This leaves the scheming Vinny with nothing, as she storms off in a rage. Angela asks if she is not getting the donation for Pine State. However, Teodora offers to match the amount, and Lucian offers a reopening of the discussion about Camille's exchange program for Morgana University, with the full support of the crown, which Angela immediately approves. The father and daughter share a sweet moment as Lucian tells Camille how proud he is, and admits that it must have been hard for her to miss out on her favorite Christmas traditions to save the university. So he brought part of the tradition with him, her mother's favorite Christmas tree star. He admits she has proven herself worthy of the crown, and worthy of choosing her relationships, as he calls Ben towards them and gives him his approval. Ben asks Camille for a dance as Christmas tunes play. Lucian approaches Teodora to discuss her taking Vinny's place in the university's board of governors. Ben and Camille share a slow dance, gazing into each other's eyes, as Ben admits he must have fallen in love with her as she leapt from her car the first time they met. He reveals he accepted her father's job offer in Morgana, and she admits that she's happy he saw her for who she is, not just her crown. She needs more than just a week with him, and so they choose to call this the beginning, as they share a passionate kiss in the middle of the dance floor, ending with Ben twirling Camille as the room erupts in applause. Ben winks at the princess as they waltz across the room, and they end the dance in each other's arms.